Demi Moore's life is often told through the lens of Hollywood fame, iconic performances, and red carpet presence. But her deeper story begins far away from the spotlight. Before she became a global star, she endured a childhood marked by instability, emotional hardship, and constant change. Her journey is not simply one of celebrity success, but of endurance shaped by early trauma and survival. This is the story of a woman who learned resilience long before fame ever arrived and who continued to rebuild herself long after the world stopped watching closely, choosing truth, healing, and strength over illusion and performance. A father's absence and the first wound. Demi Moore was born in Roswell, New Mexico in 1962, entering a world already fractured by absence. Her biological father left before she was born, creating a silent wound that would shape her earliest understanding of connection and trust. That abandonment was not something she could remember consciously, yet it formed an emotional imprint that followed her through life. Growing up, she would come to understand rejection not as an event, but as a pattern. It became the invisible starting point of her story, influencing how she viewed stability, love, and her own place in the world from the very beginning. A childhood defined by instability, raised by a young mother struggling with addiction and emotional turmoil, Demi's childhood was shaped by instability rather than safety. Homes changed frequently, relationships shifted unpredictably, and financial insecurity was constant. By her early teens, she had lived in dozens of places, moving from apartments to motel rooms without ever establishing a sense of permanence. Stability was not a reality she knew, it was something she imagined others had. This constant displacement created a life where adaptation became survival. She learned early that nothing lasts and that relying on permanence only made loss more painful when it inevitably arrived. A night that ended innocence. At around 12 years old, Demi experienced a moment that permanently altered her sense of childhood. She found her mother in a life-threatening situation caused by emotional collapse, forcing her into a role no child should carry. In that moment, fear and responsibility collided as she tried to help save her mother alongside her stepfather. The experience marked a turning point where innocence ended abruptly rather than fading naturally. After that night, sleep was no longer peaceful, and safety no longer assumed. The world became unpredictable, and vigilance replaced childhood ease in shaping her daily emotional reality. Betrayal that changed trust forever. Years later, Demi revealed a deeply painful memory in her memoir, describing a betrayal involving her mother during her teenage years. At just 15, she experienced a situation where trust was violated in exchange for money, leaving emotional scars that lingered for decades. What hurt most was not only the act itself, but what it represented. The collapse of safety within the one relationship meant to provide protection. That experience reshaped her understanding of worth, love, and vulnerability. It became a hidden weight she carried into adulthood, resurfacing whenever she questioned the meaning of trust and belonging. Leaving home too early by 16, Demi made the decision to leave school and step into independence. This was not a romantic escape, but a necessity driven by circumstances that offered no stability. She entered adulthood abruptly without a safety net or guidance. Forced to navigate survival on her own terms, life became a series of difficult choices shaped by immediate needs rather than long-term dreams. The transition was harsh, demanding emotional detachment and resilience far beyond her years. In leaving home early, she entered a world that required strength she had not yet fully developed but had no choice but to embody. Survival. Through work and hardship, Demi supported herself through a combination of modeling, office jobs, and demanding work that barely covered basic needs. Every day carried uncertainty about housing, food, and financial survival. She often faced situations where choosing between essentials was unavoidable. This period shaped her discipline and determination, but also deepened her understanding of vulnerability. There was no glamour in these years, only endurance and persistence. Each job represented not just income, but survival itself. Through this struggle, she developed a fierce independence, learning that relying on others was unreliable and that self-sufficiency was the only consistent form of security available. Rising into Hollywood. When Demi eventually entered Hollywood, her early roles in film and television marked the beginning of a dramatic transformation. Projects like Ghost, A Few Good Men, and G.I. Jane established her as a powerful screen presence capable of both emotional depth and physical intensity. Her performances reflected not just talent but lived experience, bringing authenticity to characters who faced struggle and resilience. As her fame grew, she became one of the most recognized actresses of her generation. Yet even as success arrived, it did not erase her past. Instead, it coexisted with the emotional history she carried forward. Wealth, family, and rebuilding success brought financial stability, allowing Demi to build a life of comfort, privacy, and security that contrasted sharply with her upbringing. Her homes, art, and possessions reflected achievement, but her greatest focus remained her family. Raising her 3 daughters became a central part of her healing journey as she worked to rebuild relationships shaped by earlier instability. Over time, she redefined success not as fame or wealth, but as emotional connection and presence. The process of rebuilding family bonds demonstrated that healing is gradual, requiring consistency, accountability, and a willingness to confront the past without being controlled by it. Healing, loss, and reflection. In later years, Demi openly shared her struggles through her memoir Inside Out, offering insight into addiction, trauma, and recovery. Her life also became intertwined with ongoing emotional experiences, including her connection with Bruce Willis and his health challenges, which she has faced with compassion and respect. Alongside this, she dedicated herself to wellness, philanthropy, and personal reflection. Her return to film in recent years showed a matured presence shaped by depth rather than reinvention. She continues to navigate life with awareness that healing is not final, but continuous, built through acceptance, presence, and emotional honesty. Demi Moore's story is not defined solely by fame, hardship, or survival, but by the ongoing process of becoming whole. Her life reflects the complexity of growing beyond early trauma while navigating a world that often reduces people to roles or labels. What stands out is not perfection, but persistence, not escape, but endurance. She represents a journey where pain and success coexist, shaping a deeper understanding of self. In the end, her legacy is not only cinematic but human, showing that even after profound disruption, it is possible to rebuild, redefine meaning, and live with strength rooted in truth.